Welcome everyone to my pre-release analysis of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies. This is going to be a decently long video, but I also want to bullet point everything super quick because I do not want to waste any time. Sorry if I sound a little bit ass right now, by the way. I'm pretty sickies. So this video is going to be split into 3 separate sections, that being the good things, which I have a lot to list, the questionable, things I don't know if it belongs, or unsure of how it will affect the game, good or bad. And lastly, we have the bad. But before we hop into all this nonsense, I'm sure you're wondering, why am I qualified to ask all these questions and talk about these things? Well, I will have you know, good sir, I graduated top of my class of Zombies HQ knowledge in college. Needless to say, I've been playing this game for over 10 years, and I've known what's good and what's bad over the years, what I have liked and what I haven't liked. And I've had time to sit on this game for a while, and I played a lot of the beta, so I know how a lot of these features are going to work. I already have a good idea of how things are going to play, but most importantly, I have a lot of game experience under my belt in this franchise. I've played so many hours of Black Ops 3. I played so many hours of Black Ops 2. I played so many hours of Black Ops 1. I skipped Black Ops 4, and I kind of skipped Cold War. I played it a little bit, but it just wasn't for me. So I am a classic Zombies apologist, but I am still open-minded and willing to give games a try if they genuinely look interesting to me, which is why I gave Cold War a try, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing with Black Ops 6, and that's why I'm giving my opinions on certain things and hoping for the best for this year's installment of Zombies. So without further ado, let me not waste any more time and let's jump straight into this video. Since I'm a pessimist, we're going to jump straight into the bad things, but since there's not nearly as many things to talk about, it should go pretty quick, so let's just get it over with. First and foremost, I think the thing that people probably complain about the most is the HUD. This is being recorded on the 23rd of October, after they've already fixed the HUD, technically, and I still don't think it's enough, but I do, however, think it's a step in the right direction. The things that they did are actually really good. I love the character portraits that they added at the bottom. I do prefer the way that the Warzone armor looks on the screen. I still don't necessarily love Warzone armor, but it works and it's fine. I think my biggest complaint with the HUD by far is definitely how the gobblegums look on screen, which they haven't shown in this most recent post. And I'm pretty sure that's for a reason because they're probably still working on it and trying to make it look better. But before, it literally just looked like 3 squares on the side of the screen with an icon on it. Like it looked so bad. And I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with that. It looked so lazy and so effortless, but everything else about this HUD is okay. I still don't like the bottom right corner. I think it's just a bit too square and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel Zombies enough. It still serves its purpose and it's nothing like the Black Ops 4 HUD. And all day, every day, give it commendment for that because the Black Ops 4 HUD, please never come back. Another thing that I don't really like about the HUD is how the points are in the middle of the screen. Whatever happened to the points being super clean and being right next to where your points are located at the bottom left of the screen? Why can't I just choose to have a pop-up on the left side of the screen instead of it taking up the entire middle of my screen, obstructing my vision and distracting me? Like, I know you can turn it off, but they should give an option to put the current points you are gaining back at the bottom left-hand side of the screen, exactly like how Black Ops 4 did it, which is crazy of me to say because that's one thing that they actually did that makes sense. I don't understand why they need a kill feed in the middle of the screen just to tell you that you're getting a kill. Like, it should be pretty obvious when you get a hit marker that you're killing something. I don't understand why you need full display like it's a fucking game of Warzone. I genuinely have no clue who put that in the game, and to this day is still saying that it's a good idea. I'm also going to put the minimap in this section. Again, you can remove it, but I do think it should be off by default, and anyone that does need the extra help should be able to turn it on. I don't think that a minimap is needed in Zombies and should be on by default. It just makes no sense to me, and there's really just no place for it. So if it could just get removed by default, whatever. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal. I'm going to be turning it off. I don't really need it as a pro Zombies player. Moving on, my second biggest bad gripe with this game is that the old point system is not returning. And I know I'm going to get probably some Warzone apologists out there that have only played with this point system and are going to absolutely flame me for no fucking reason. But if you haven't played older Zombies, you understand once you play it why the old point system is so good and is just so perfect for a game mode like this. There's so many things that you do to get points in the older games that are just completely gone now. Like, you can't shoot zombies in the legs and maximize how many points you get to try to get a door open a round or 2 earlier. Like, that just does not exist. The problem with the new point system is it makes it so linear in terms of progression that it feels like you can't even progress properly. Like, obviously there's a still set of progression throughout the map, but it doesn't feel like you have control of it. And that's the biggest gripe that I have with this system. You're not able to maximize what you're doing to get something faster or get something at a different pace than someone else. I will be a bit devil's advocate here. I understand wanting to give everyone an even playing field no matter what gun you're using. You still get the same amount of points. You're not at a disadvantage for using a shotgun over an assault rifle. But then again, that's also what balanced it beforehand. If you use a shotgun, you are willingly taking the risk to know that you're not going to get as many points, but you're going to be able to kill a zombie faster. And if you use an assault rifle, you know you may not be killing as many zombies as fast, but you are getting more points for that extra bullet time that you're having to put into all these zombies. Like there's trade-offs in either system, but I just think the trade-offs made more sense in the older point system, and I really think it's a disservice to this game to not bring that back. It almost feels like sometimes that they made this point system in Black Ops 4, and since all the people that originally were making zombies left that on the table, everyone else just took it and ran with it. I feel like if Black Ops 4 never changed the point system, we would still have regular point systems to this day. Like, it doesn't make sense that it's still this really bad point system that a lot of people didn't like in Black Ops 4 coming back year after year. I don't understand it. Maybe one day we'll get it back, but as of right now, I'll just leave it there. But that is by far my biggest complaint about this game. On that second token, I also want to say that the starting loadouts is also in my bad section, but it's on the lighter end of the bad. I understand the purpose of loadouts in this modern monetization system that they have for Call of Duty. I get if you want to buy a gun, you want to be able to spawn in with it. I get if you buy a blueprint or something, you can just put it on and hop into a game of zombies and it's super sick. I understand that. The problem is that it ruins all purpose of progression. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos from like Chopper, Dalek, all of them making great points that just because you have an automatic gun, it doesn't make the game worse. However, it does make the game feel like you don't need to progress any further. It feels like you can just keep that same gun and just go through the entire map with it. And I think that is a problem to an extent, because one of the things that was so amazing about classic zombies is that it encouraged you to buy new weapons because your gun was getting weaker, or you needed to get the box because you're running out of ammo or something. That is also gone. Like, you don't need to worry about ammo. You just go to an ammo crate. But I feel like if they they could keep ammo crates, but if they were to just make it so you spawn in with a specific set of guns, it doesn't even have to be one gun like it was in classic zombies. If you could just say spawn in with any type of pistol or any type of secondary weapon, I feel like that would be an amazing trade-off. So you could still choose what you spawn in with, but you do have a bit of balance in terms of how you are progressing and what you need to do to progress. The last thing I have in the bad category here kind of goes back to the point system. It kind of feels like all early game strategies are just completely null and void because of all these other systems they have in place, like the loadouts and even the point system combined. I feel like it just ruins the feeling of early game progression. I mean, think about it. When you're playing a game of something like Der Eisendrache, you're trying to optimize as much as you can in the early rounds. So what do? You shoot them 8 times in the leg, you knife them, you keep doing that until like round 3, you go to the dragon and you're only knifing so you don't have to buy a weapon, so you can get through as many doors as possible. And eventually, you get to the last dragon by round 5, you still haven't bought a gun because you're just knifing the whole time. And now you have so many points that you can just buy Juggernog and then you have a bow. That early game progression is so important to me. And I feel like this new point system and the loadout system just absolutely ruins it. Like, sure, you can choose not to buy a gun, but if you already spawn in with the gun that you want, then why would you need to buy one in the first place? If I could just buy ammo for 500 points in a box, why would I buy a new gun? I could just buy ammo and not have to worry about it. It feels like it loses a lot of the tension that it built in the earlier games. And I'm willing to give this a chance and see if they can do it right this game, but I really highly doubt that they can just fix these flaws in these really bad systems that they've implemented into these games over the past few years. I don't think it's going to happen. And if they do release a classic mode, this will relieve all of these problems. Like, it'll alleviate everything. But my hopes are like little to none. I'm not keeping any expectations for things that they'll do for this game. I can hope, but I'm really not holding my breath. Moving on from the bad, we're going to start talking about the questionable things. These are mainly going to be the things that I don't know how they're going to fit into the game or like what their place is going to be long term, but I'm keeping my eye on them because they could either turn into good things or bad things over time. The first thing of those being Omni movement. Now, I think overall Omni movement is actually a really good thing, but I just don't really think it's going to make that much of a change in zombies. The ability to backpedal isn't really going to change much. The ability to run to the side isn't going to change much. If you're going to be training zombies, you're going to probably just be sprinting forward anyways. It's muscle memory for us at this point. Like, there's no point for us to like run trains in like circles without moving our mouse or moving our thumbstick. Like, it just doesn't really feel like it's going to change anything. But on that same token, I don't know how it's going to work with things like PhD Flopper or like any of the other perks. So we'll really just have to wait and see, but there's really not much that this is going to add to the game from my perspective and from the gameplay that I've seen. Most people just play like it's a normal game anyways. But I am, however, excited for Omni movement and multiplayer, but that's not really part of this conversation. Next thing I wanted to discuss is the crafting table. This is one of those things where I'm like, I think it makes sense for certain things, but the things that they put in the crafting table, I think really don't add up. And I don't think they should be there. For example, like, why am I able to buy like monkey bombs and Gersh devices from a crafting table? Why should that be there when I could just go to the box and then get it there? I feel like it has a bit more suspense that way. If you're just handed these things that are super powerful and can literally save you and your teammates, I feel like there should at least be some sort of like, there should be some sort of difficult path in order to get something that rewards you that much. But in this game, all you have to do is get some salvage and go to a crafting table and then just get that equipment, and then you have it, and that's it. And then if you need more, you can just go back and craft more. Like, I feel like it ruins some of the things that the older games put in place by keeping it in the mystery box and only needing a max ammo to refill them. Now, however, I'm not going to put it in the bad section because I think some of the things that are in the crafting table are actually a good thing. Like having concussion grenades or like flash grenades and even frag grenades or semtexes, I think those make sense. But when it comes to like lethal equipment and things that are supposed to be rarer in the game and have really good powers behind them, I just don't see why it should be placed there. I guess this will also move us into the score streaks part of it. I'm kind of 50-50 on score streaks, to be completely honest. I don't mind them, but I also don't think they should be in the crafting table. I feel like they should actually be score streaks where you have them set pre-game, and if you earn them, you can go pick them up maybe from the crafting table, but you don't craft them with salvage or something. My thought process is, what if someone were to be surviving without getting hit for so long that they earn a score streak, and then what they do to use that score streak is they go to the crafting table and pick it up, and it would take the slot of a gobblegum or something, or maybe the 4th D-pad slot, since it's 3 D-pad slots for the gobblegums, and then D-pad right could be for your score streak. I don't exactly know how they're gonna do score streaks in conjunction with gobblegums. I didn't really see that much of the gameplay, but I feel like it would make more sense for the system to be not exactly involved around just using salvage to get these things. I feel like there should be some rewards and some work put in order to get these things that are that powerful. Kind of staying on the same topic of equipment, I also want to discuss ground loot, because there's certain things in ground loot that I really just don't really see why they need to be there. There's certain things that I understand, like armor plates. That makes sense. If you need armor, armored zombies or just regular zombies in general would drop a plate for you to pick up. I don't think there needs to be a wall buy to pick up an armor plate. I think that would be such a waste of time, and I feel like that is the one thing that I think makes sense for zombies to drop. However, I think it makes no sense for them to drop tactical grenades, lethal grenades, like support equipment, and ammo mods. It was listed in the blog post. I'll put up a screenshot on the screen right now. It says that you can get ammo mods from zombies dropping it. And I know in Black Ops Cold War, you could get score streaks from just killing zombies, which I don't know why they did that, but they did it for some reason. But these things just really don't feel like they need to be dropped by a zombie. Like, if you can already get it from one location, being the crafting table, why should it also drop from zombies? I feel like it's just cluttering the battlefield. And like I said, I don't think ground loot is a bad thing. I just think that they need to change the loot tables of what is in the ground loot. Like, I wouldn't even mind if it was just lethal grenades. Like, if you get frag grenades and semtexes dropped on the ground for you, I think that's cool. But also making it so you can get like a decoy or a stun grenade, I feel like that just dilutes what you're looking on the ground for. And it, again, feels like a Warzone implementation that just doesn't really make any sense. In my personal opinion, I think that tacticals should be in the box and you should only be able to get them from there. And any other piece of equipment that you can get that isn't a tactical grenade should be in the crafting table, as well as the score streaks. Switching topics here entirely, in the questionable section, I don't know how to feel about the fact that there is no more carpenters in this game, which also, in that same token, means that there might not be any more repairable barriers in this game, which is definitely an interesting turn for zombies. I feel like one of the things that added tension into zombies originally was the fact that zombies had to break the barriers and you could see them forcing themselves into your world with you having no control over it. And I feel like that's something that adds to the atmosphere, and the fact that the barriers are something that they have to tear down physically to get to you. Like, I could care less if carpenters are in the game, but I feel like if there's no destroyable and rebuildable barriers, it kind of just feels similar to just any other zombie game where they can just show up from anywhere and they're just attacking you. It doesn't really feel like a sit and survive zombies experience like all the other games. It almost just kind of feels like it's kind of similar to Left 4 Dead at that point in a way. I don't really know how to describe it, but I feel like some people might get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we'll just have to see how no barriers play. It may not even make a difference. I might just be hyping this up too much, but I feel like it is definitely something to keep an eye on, because if they don't add barriers for the rest of the game, I kind of don't know how to feel about it. But like I said, we'll just have to see what happens with that. Another thing I wanted to bring up here is the weapon rarities. This is something that in the past I thought was really stupid and I didn't really like, but the more I'm kind of sitting with it, the more I don't mind it. Plus also the fact that weapon builds are going to be in this game makes me have hope that the rarities actually are going to be of importance, because in Black Ops Cold War, you get a weapon from the box and it's a random color, but it also has random attachments that you don't want. But I feel like now you have a reason to hit the box since you have a gun with those attachments that you so desire. But now you just get it with a higher rarity. So it makes you actually want to use the box because you know what gun you're going to get. You know what attachments you're going to get. Therefore, the rarity actually does matter because it is something that you are seeking out and you know what you're going to get. But again, we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see how it plays out this game. I feel like it could be pretty well implemented in this. I feel like they've taken a lot of time to consider how it works and exactly what we would want out of it. The last thing that I have on my questionable list is I'm not sure how Gobblegum earning rates are going to play out. And when I say earning rates, I mean it in two different ways. One, how are we going to earn them? Like, they've kind of described it as we just get them through playing the game. Like, yeah, sure, but obviously some are rarer than others. So does that mean after certain rounds, certain ones are easier to obtain? Like, there's so much nuance to the system that I feel like something like a gambling system solved with Black Ops 3. Like, yeah, it sucked so much, but I feel like this system might almost complicate it more just because there is little to no documentation on how they plan to implement this. And they've kind of just said, you earn them through playing the game, and haven't described what exactly you're doing to earn them or what exactly the rates are of earning these things. I believe in a blog post recently, they also stated that you get whimsicals every now and then, but like, why would they release the rates for whimsicals when they're just cosmetic gobblegums? I don't understand what they were thinking with that one. If anything, it just makes me scratch my head and kind of like put my head down in despair, because that isn't what we're asking for. We want to know how you actually earn gobblegums and what the rates of those are. So unless I see something in the blog post that I missed, I'll pop it up on screen right now. But as of right now, that is one thing that is confusing to me and they haven't really described. So I'm leaving it in this category for now. And now for last, but definitely not least, the good things. Like I said, there is a lot, so I'm going to try to just zoom my way through this because I could go into a lot of detail about a lot of these things, but I really do not want to waste any of our time here. So we're going to cut this up into basically like 4 to 5 different sections here. First, we're going to talk about progression, then customization, returning Black Ops 3 features, improved features from Cold War, and then entirely new parts of this game. Starting off with progression. The camo progression looks super simple and looks super nice. I love that it's just getting critical kills, 2 special camos, and then all you have to do is get Mystic Gold, and then it's just that easy to get a single gun gold. Another great thing is the prestige. I'm sure everyone and their mom right now is aware of all the prestige progression that they've added in terms of just bringing back regular prestige, adding more content along the prestige progression system. It makes it so much more fleshed out. It makes it so much more interesting to play. And we'll get into more of the rewards of that system later on in the customization part. But the only thing I'm questioning is there a way to fresh start with prestige? Because with older games you could, but I'm not sure with newer systems like this that there is going to be that option. So I'm curious to see how that'll play out, but we'll just have to wait for that one. Another nice thing that they're doing is they're making it so Gobblegum you do not have to unlock, period. You have them all unlocked at the beginning of the game. It's whether or not you earn them and you can use them right away. And I think that is a great thing. I think that is one thing that held Black Ops 3 back a lot in terms of playing, because why would I want to play until level 55 just so I can use all the classic Gobblegums? I think it was a really bad decision, and I think it kind of hurts new players getting into the game because they can't just choose the Gobblegums that they want, because the starter ones absolutely suck. There's only 1 or 2 good ones. But yeah, I think Gobblegum being all unlocked at the beginning, incredible. One of the big ones that I'm super excited for in this game is augments, because I've been wanting an out-of-game progression system that actually makes sense and is balanced for the longest time. And the Cold War progression system was too much, and if you started too late, you wouldn't be as up to speed as everyone else, and if you played through the entire game, you feel way too powerful. And I feel like augments are going to be such a perfect balance, because you'll be able to not only choose what strengths your perks have, but you can also have builds based on certain features of each different perk that can combine together and make something truly unique and really take customization of how you play the game to the next level. And I think this genuinely is going to be one of the best perk systems that we had in zombies in a long time. Considering that they've already shown what all the abilities are, I think it's already such a great system. And I'm so glad that they're trying something new with this. The last thing I'm going to put under the progression category is the save and quit feature. This is one that I have been asking for years, and I don't know how it's taken this long to do it, because it was done in fucking mobile zombies before a console version. Is it that hard to save a .txt file with all of your stats and all of your weapons? Is it really that hard to do? Obviously, I'm not a game developer. I know there's more steps to it than that, but I really don't know how this hasn't been a thing sooner. I think group pausing from Black Ops 4 was a good addition, and I think that's also something else that should come back as well. But the fact that you can start a game and say mom makes you go to the grocery store with her, you can just pause the game, save and quit, and then when you come back, you don't have to worry about being dead, or you don't have to worry about your console getting turned off when you're gone, or if your mom comes in, turns off your console because she's mad at you, you're not going to lose your progress, and you're not going to be crying at your mom because she turned off your Xbox. You can just start it again later. I think it's generally such a good addition for all those oh fuck moments that we can't really plan for in life. So it's so nice to be able to just stop a game and come back to it whenever we want. I just honestly wish this was in the franchise sooner, because I would have loved to use this when I was younger, playing the game for the first time and whatnot, and not having the time to finish a game like I wanted to. Moving on from progression, we're going to move into customization, which a lot of the customization features I think are so good this year. We're going to kind of jump back into the camos, because I wanted to talk about the visuals of the camos this time around. I think the camos look so good. I love the way all of them look. The gold camo almost looks as good as Black Ops 1 gold, and that is like by far my favorite. I don't think there's any other game that does it better than Black Ops 1, and I would say that this is probably on par with that. I think it looks so good. And I know that's a multiplayer camo technically, but still, it just looks good. Same can be said for Opal, Mystic Gold, Afterlife, and even Nebula. Nebula looks so fire, and I am most definitely going to be trying to go for it. Can't promise that I'll get it. Reticles is another cool thing that is coming back. I believe it was also in Cold War. I know it for a fact that it was in Black Ops 3. Having zombies specific reticles is honestly really cool, because it makes me feel like I can go back to Black Ops 1 or something, and when you pack a punch a gun, you get the Treyarch reticle, or you get the atomic reticle with a dot in the middle. Like, I love little details like that, and I'm a sucker for them, and I'm glad they're coming back. Like I said earlier, we were going to talk about more of the prestige unlocks, and oh my god, dude, these prestige unlocks are some of the best things that I have seen in such a long time. I've seen all of them. They have all leaked already online. I can't really go into too much detail because I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, and all of them got copyright strike down, so there's not really much footage of them anymore. We'll just use the first prestige as an example. A Nocturne and Toten zombie skin that also gives you a Thompson in replacement of an MP5. That is some creative shit, and I wish things like that had been in the game years ago. This looks so good, and I'm so excited for this. Calling cards this year are also looking really nice. It's not really too much to say about them. They're just calling cards. They look cool. I like the 100%er cards. I'm not sure how difficult the zombies 100%er is going to be to do. I want to try to go for it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have the mental capacity to do so. I might do a few streams where I try to go for it, but we'll have to see. Bringing back up augments, I think this is really great for customization too, because you can truly tailor an experience to a certain playstyle. Like, I know you could do the same in like Black Ops 4 and whatnot, but just because you tailor it to a playstyle doesn't mean you can't switch playstyles mid-game. For example, in Black Ops 4, if you had a perk like Stone Cold Stronghold and PhD Slider, you would probably be doing a camping strategy with the Helion Salvo. However, just because you make a certain build do a certain thing in Black Ops 6 doesn't mean you have to stick to that strategy, because the perks as a base form still do the same thing, but they just give you advantages in different areas that make certain strategies a little bit better. So I love this idea of making them better in different ways, but still do the same thing at the end of the day. I think this is a great idea. I'm so excited for augments. It's like one of the things that I was kind of indifferent on at first. It was like, oh, it's another form of progression and whatnot. But the more I see about it and the more I've read about it, it genuinely looks so cool, and I'm so excited. I know I bashed the HUD earlier for being really ass, but I do enjoy the fact that you can customize your HUD. I do like that you can position it however you want. It says however you want originally. From what I heard, they're still working on a fully customizable one where you can genuinely drag it around wherever you want. But even just the fact that you can move it slightly, I think is really cool. And I'm gonna try to see if I like the Black Ops 3 style classic zombies HUD. I'm not sure if I will, but we'll just have to see how that goes. I'll give my opinions on it in a later video after the game comes out. I do think weapon builds is another nice addition. The fact that you can have a weapon and that you can get it out of the box whenever you want, and it has your attachment set, it has your camo set, it has everything preset for you, similar to Black Ops 3. I think it's a great idea. It was a tried and true formula that worked for not only Black Ops 3, but for Black Ops 4. I don't know why they got rid of it for Black Ops Cold War, but I'm glad that it's back for Black Ops 6 because it genuinely helps the game so much in terms of customization and just feeling like the game is yours in a sense. One thing that I didn't realize that I've been hearing a lot about recently is that there's going to be Wonder Weapon skins, which I think is pretty cool, to be completely honest. I think it sounds really cool, and depending on how they do it, I think it could be really nice. Since it's just a skin, you aren't really gonna have an advantage. It's literally just gonna look cool. And from what I heard, you're actually gonna be able to unlock some of these by doing the quests and doing some other things. I'm assuming there's probably gonna be shop bundles, like obviously. The fact that you can just play the game and get a skin for a Wonder Weapon, I think is really cool. Like having specific themed ray guns that have certain colors or like certain textures, or maybe even whole new models altogether that just make the gun look a little different, I think is so cool, and also helps the customization aspect of it. The last part of customization I want to hone in on here, the fact that you get to choose your operators but also have a main set crew. I think operators honestly are not a bad thing for zombies. I just think the fact that they had no set crew for Black Ops Cold War was a really missed opportunity, and I think it really made the game much worse. The way they're going about it this year is you can optionally use your operators that you've earned in Warzone, or whatever challenges you've done, or whatever shop bundle you bought. I think it's cool that you can do that still, but in order to do the story, you need to play as the set crew. I think that is a great idea. I think they really have knocked it out of the park here with what they want us to be able to do, customization they want us to have with our gameplay experience. And I think that's where I'll end the customization section. So moving on from there, we're going to talk about returning Black Ops 3 features, which I haven't mentioned a lot of the Black Ops 3 features because a lot of them fall under the Cold War category since they were changed so much for that game that they're almost not even Black Ops 3 features anymore. So the two obvious ones that are coming back is going to be Gobblegum and Dark Ops. I think Gobblegum obviously is a great addition. I think it's nice to be able to choose what abilities you do, the fact that it gives you so much more customization of your gameplay style. And I feel like that might also make up for the lack of gameplay progression choices that you have because of the lack of the point system and the loadout system. It'll give you more gameplay options to progress further, quicker. So I think generally it should help out the game more than it hurts it. And now there's Dark Ops challenges coming back, and there's not really much to say about these. They're just hidden challenges that are really cool. I always like working for these because if you don't know what you're doing and you get one of these, it's so rewarding to know that you actually worked something for something that is so like discreet and not given to you that you feel accomplished for doing it. And even if you know what the challenges are, you know that they're just the top of the line, cream of the crop challenges that you literally need to look up to know how to do because they're so specific, and they're usually really, really nice looking calling cards. So I think it's thumbs up for me. Now we're going to move on and talk about the features that they're bringing back from Black Ops Cold War. The first one being the armor. I know a lot of people hate on armor. I don't get why, because honestly, armor isn't that bad, and it's literally just a replacement for the shield. The one thing that I'm hoping for with armor though is that they change the amount of damage mitigation that they showed from COD Next, because I saw videos of Chopper playing the game and he could take like 14 hits before going down. It was insane. I don't know who thought that that would be a good idea, but I really hope they go to the drawing board and rebalance it and make it so it's not too overpowered. Another thing that they improved from Cold War is that there's no more pack-a-punch menu. You just put your gun in the pack-a-punch and you get the upgraded version. I kind of do wish that they brought back the, risk versus reward, waiting for your gun to upgrade, but generally it's a good thing that there's no menu anymore. I think menus in the game is so stupid if you don't need it, and pack-a-punch is one of those things where you just do not need it. In relation to that, Wonder Fizz is now only available after round 25. I think that's a good thing. The new Wonder Fizz machine is cool and all, but I feel like it's way too overpowered, and I feel like round 25 is a decent round for it to balance it out, but you still have to work for it. Another thing that they're bringing back from Cold War is global progression, and I think this is one thing that is super nice. I do kind of miss Black Ops 3 having separate progression paths that you worked for a certain thing in a certain area, but I do think generally for the general player base, having shared progression across all modes is honestly better for the average Joe Schmo player, because it just makes it easier to just hop into a game. You're already that level. You can just throw the gun that you already earned in multiplayer into zombies without having to do any extra challenges or anything. One big one that they're bringing back is quests, but they're going to be more difficult, more on par to what Black Ops 3 had. And I'm super grateful for that. I love the difficulty of the quest in Black Ops 3. Some of them were a bit difficult, yes, but I do think generally that they struck a good balance of if you know what you're doing, you can get a lot done. And I'm also glad that they're making it easier for new players by adding directed mode. And I know I'm not a new player, but I do think that having things for new players, say you want to play with a friend that has never played zombies before, but they're a multiplayer person, they can just hop in and you can show them how to do it and they're not going to be confused the whole time. I think it's good for the player base base in general. The main quests are also going to be giving rewards, like I mentioned earlier, like certain skins, wonder weapon skins. I think this is great too, and I just wish they had shown us more about some of the things we'd get, but I get why they haven't, so we'll just have to see what they give us, and I'm looking forward to that, to be completely honest. The last thing in this category here is going to be exfil. Exfil was a great feature from Cold War that they're bringing back, and it's almost getting better this year because there's a gobblegum that you can start an exfil at any round, so you don't have to wait every 5 rounds to do it. If you get the gobblegum, or if you have it in your pack and you know you're going to want to exfil early, you can just keep it on you and then use it whenever you need it, and then boom, you're free to go. So I think they've honestly improved it this year, and I'm excited to be able to use it because I don't want to have to game end myself just to go back to the main menu or save and quit. I think it's nice that they give us this option. And now we're finally going to get to the new features and new parts of the game that I'm excited for. First, them being in the new enemy types. I think that all of them are really good, even if some of them are things that have come back from previous zombies games. For example, the parasites and the manglers, they're both coming back from Black Ops 3. I really don't think they make sense here, but I mean, sure. They've done a lot of cool equipment with the Mangler, and I think it might as well come back as an enemy, I guess. But the two new ones, the Vermins and the Amalgams, those look super interesting, and I'm super curious to see how those are going to play out in game. And yeah, I can't really say much until I've actually had experiences with them, but they look super interesting and they actually feel very creepy and they feel like they fit zombies. Another cool new feature that I'm looking forward to is the game ending animations. I know this isn't going to be really like gameplay related, but it just adds more aura to like the zombies mode as a whole. Just you gruesomely dying on the floor. What's not to like about that? I'm getting my fucking brains chewed out. One thing that I don't see people talking about nearly enough is the fact that you can slide and dive in this game, which I know has been a thing in like previous Modern Warfare games, like Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, but this hasn't been in a zombies game ever. You've never been able to slide like you have in previous games like Black Ops 3 and dolphin dive at the same time like Black Ops 2. Simultaneously. So this inherently helps us in multiple ways because it gives PhD Flopper a lot more purpose, so you can dolphin dive and do the explosions and whatnot like you could before. You can also still slide and get around the map faster. And yeah, dolphin diving is kind of more of like a gimmick in zombies, but I still think it is going to have its place, and I think it is nice that you're able to do both. And the last thing that I have to mention in this video is the wonder weapons. I think both of them look really good, even if one of them is the jet gun, but it is an improved version of the jet gun that we've been asking for a while. And I'm glad that they've gone through the liberties to remake it and put it in a new light and make it feel a little more interesting and a little more fleshed out and a lot more thoughtful than the original jet gun. I think it's a great addition, and I'm so glad that they're doing it. The beam smasher also looks really cool. I don't know how good it's going to be. In the gameplay, it kind of looked mid, but it does look cool. I will give it that. And I'm excited to see how it goes. And I guess you can also include the ray gun here, but it's the ray gun. It's going to do ray gun things. With that being said, the video is going to wrap up here. I know this was a long video, so if you've made it this far, be sure to drop a like and show your support. Thank you for watching this long if you have. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I'll be sure to make more Black Ops 6 videos as the game releases in the next couple days. And I'm looking really forward to this game, and I'm really excited to see what this season comes with. And I hope you all enjoyed. That's about it for me. Later, guys.